Hey everyone, thanks for joining me in this video and welcome to the YouTube channel. Calling it Stage 4 Under 40. My name is Jacob Lee. I'm 35 years old, and last month I was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. In this YouTube channel, I just want to kind of document my journey, what it's been like, what the daily battle is like, what the emotional roller coaster feels like, life with kids. I figured, yeah, there's lots of things to learn and reflect on along the way, and I want to share my journey with you. In this episode, this first one, I'm going to talk about what that first night was like, hearing the news for the first time. What's it like to be told at age 35, out of nowhere, that you have stage 4 lung cancer? That's coming up next. Thanks for tuning in. So, what is it like to be told that you have stage 4 lung cancer out of the blue? You had no idea it was coming, no symptoms showing. You go into the hospital, to the emergency room because of a stomach issue, and then in a few hours you are told that you have stage 4 lung cancer. What is that like? Wow. So this all happened last month, October 11th, a day that I will never forget. Todd Hill drove me into the ER. A friend of mine drove me to the ER, Todd, and just was going there for a stomach issue, which I've had weeks leading up to that day, with gastritis, inflammation in my stomach, because of an H. pylori infection bacteria. And I was towards the end of my treatment, antibiotic treatment for that. I was on my road to recovery, until one morning on October 11th, I was experiencing a lot of pain in a different area from my stomach, which now I know was my liver, which has cancer. But you go into the hospital for stomach inflammation, and then after they run a battery of tests, I find out that I have cancer. So what was that like? It was complete and utter shock. I still remember how the doctor walked in and how the doctor told me. He was a younger doctor, so he probably didn't have a ton of experience speaking with patients about cancer, especially an ER doctor. So the news came in it was a pretty hard landing. um, um, but yeah, it was absolute devastation. There was just a lot of weeping. Um, I still remember my wife's reaction, and that's basically what hurts the most. At that point, you're just kind of numb to the news. I'm sorry about the camera. My hand is kind of trembling as I. Let me get my other hand up here. My hands are kind of trembling as I think about that night again. Yeah, I was just laying in the hospital bed. The doctor walked in, sat down next to me. We instantly knew something was wrong. Leading up to the results, because we were there for hours, Rachel and I were obviously discussing, what could this be? What's going on? The doctor said there was elevated calcium in my blood, and as we were looking up reasons for this, cancer was there somewhere. So, it was in the back of our minds, but you just never expect to be the one to have cancer. It's crazy. Even though statistics now say 1 in 2 people will end up with cancer, you just never expect it to be you. So it was in the back of our minds, but we obviously weren't anticipating it. But yeah, as soon as the doctor walked in, we knew something was wrong, just the way he was approaching us. And then when he told us the news, it was just, yeah, it was just devastation. It was awful. Um, my wife and I were just weeping. Yeah, how do you get told um, that you have a certain window to live? You know, when you're 35 years old, he had no symptoms leading up to that. They were asking me, in light of the tumor and the lesions in my liver, in my body. I don't know if they knew about all the lesions at that point, but they were asking me about all these symptoms, if I was experiencing anything. I wasn't. So, in a lot of ways, I feel like God protected me. Um, God protected me from feeling the effects of the cancer in a weird way. Um, because cognitively, I should have been very, very impacted. Just a number of lesions in my brain. Um, but basically, the doctor told me that day. Basically, the doctors told me that day that the cancer started in my lungs. There's a tumor in there, and then it spread to my liver and my bones and in my skull. So it's in my brain as well. So that's what I guess makes it stage 4, how much it's spread. It's basically all over my body at this point. Um, and yeah, I don't know. How do you digest that? How do you, at 35 years old, in the past year, I felt, the healthiest, strongest I've ever felt. Actually, I've been going to the gym consistently for about over a year. I've been lifting weights, more weights than I thought I could ever lift. So physically, I felt great. And it was just once I hit September, it was just the stomach problems, which kind of sidelined me from the gym. But stomach problems, and I was on the road to recovery. And then all of a sudden, the doctors are telling you have cancer everywhere in your body. Like, what? Are you sure? I don't feel anything. I feel great. Just got to get rid of this bacteria. And then they start using words like, this isn't curative, this is palliative. Okay. So, yeah, it felt like a death sentence at first, for sure. It felt like a death sentence. It felt like some days I wondered when I was going to sleep in the early few days, like, will I go to sleep and not just wake up? Like, could I just die in the middle of my sleep? Like, there was some thoughts of death in that way. But what was that like? It was awful. And I guess the worst part is just the reaction of my loved ones, especially my wife, just the way she screamed and cried when the doctor said it. I just never want to experience that again. Never want to see my wife cry and hurt like that again. And my mom, just the way she took the news. I called her pretty immediately afterwards, or after I digested the news with Rachel, and just to, relive the fresh news, sharing with her on the phone, and then hearing her, go through that process. To absorb that. I mean, I can't even imagine, how do you hear your son, who's 35 years old, with 3 kids, that he has stage 4 cancer. I can't even imagine. So just to, remember her reaction. That was hard. That was so hard. She took that so hard. So that was probably the most dramatic night of my life in terms of hard news. Um, it's been a month since, so how are things now? It's been a month since. Um, since then, I've had treatment, radiation treatment in my brain, which basically is like lasers. You wear a mask, you go into this machine, and they just kind of shoot lasers in your in your brain, and it's weird because you kind of taste the laser. I don't know what it tastes like. It tastes like, I don't know. It tastes weird, but it tastes like laser. And I did that for close to 2 weeks, 10 days, something like that. They said my brain is responding well to it. Again, they're completely shocked how much normal brain function I have with 20 lesions. One of the doctors at Abington Hospital said just even with 3 or 4 lesions, she can see patients really impacted cognitively. So it's just been an amazing gift. I feel like God's protected me with 20 lesions just to be able to be conscientious and aware, be able to dialogue with people. That's just been huge. So I'm very, very thankful for that. And I've been having chemo treatments. There are 6 rounds in total. Each round has 3 sessions in it. So there's 18. There you go. There's my math right there. 18 sessions. Each session is about, I don't know, an hour, give or take. It varies a little bit. But I'm in round 2 right now. I just started round 2, and it seems like my body is responding well. I feel like since October 11th, there's been some really dark stretches early on, and a lot of that had to do with the meds I was getting, and also obviously like just the cancer, the way it was affecting my body. So there was some really, really rough days. But it's just been amazing to see how our community has loved us so well. I've had conversations with friends who are not believers say that, one thing that they've noticed that is so real is just the love of the community of my church at New Life Drescher. So yeah, thank you all for just the way you stepped in and showed us your support and loved us. We had this morning, a crew of people from church rake our leaves. And when I woke up, Rachel told me that. I was too tired to get up. But when Rachel told me that, I just started tearing up. I don't know. I just been so thankful for just the way people have stepped in and showed us how much they cared. And it's from, delivering meals to writing cards to text messages to big things like just medical advocacy, taking me to the hospital. There's just been so many individuals, so many families, so many people who've just shown incredible love and support, and it's just touched me so much that it makes me pretty emotional. I've just been more sensitive, I guess, ever since the cancer of what life's really about. It's kind of like focused the lens, as it were, of what's most important to me. And seeing how life is so short and so fragile, I realize it's the people, it's loving people, just the way Christ loved us. And you guys have done that for us. So thank you to my community, New Life Drescher. I am proud to be the associate pastor. Sure, the best church you can be a part of. It's here in Eastern Pennsylvania. If you don't belong to a church, we'd love to have you. As you can see, we have a great community of folks who love Jesus and love people so well. So if you don't know about us, come check us out. In the next video, I think I want to involve my wife. Maybe we talk about how cancer has impacted our marriage, or how she and I have been in this last month. So stay tuned for that. All right, see ya.